The only reason I didn't quit in July during the strike, I was so angry at the power structure of this world. But I always felt like for some reason, naively, I was like, yeah, but we're actors. It's different. We're making art. The only reason I didn't quit is just like, yo, man, all I've done so far is hard work. I'm not quitting before the payoff. I've got to the top of the mountain. It's downhill from here, man. I'm not quitting before the downhill part.
Get ready for an episode that really goes into all kinds of direction. We're going to talk about how jealousy can really creep in as an actor, how Tony travels all over the country for work, and diving into the human experience. Let's do this. Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is Jesse Malinowski. I want to thank everyone so much. If you've left a review or commented on YouTube, it really does do a lot for the podcast. And honestly, it just warms my heart so much to know that the podcast is really serving your actor journey in a big way, or whatever journey you're on. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I want to do a shout out to somebody that has left us a comment. It is your girl, Amy. Each week, Jesse brings a great new guest. It's always well worth your time, both informative and entertaining. Some emojis. And if you aren't listening, what are you waiting for? But that means you are here now if you just heard that. So thanks so much. Make sure to subscribe and let us know what you thought about this episode. And now it's time to dive in with my good friend and incredible actor, Mr. Tony Demil.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you, Tony?
Good. I'm actually really good. It's sunny today, so
yeah,
it's like night and day.
yeah. You need the sun. You need like getting outside. I love that about you.
Yeah, man, I really do. And it's like, one of the things I've learned about being an actor is you have to pay attention to how you're feeling. And if you can figure out why you're feeling that way. For example, the other night I was out with some friends from Universal, and I was out with Jeremy Palco. And I was like, oh, I hate this person right now. And I'm like, why? I'm like, oh, I'm jealous of his career. So then I said to him, hey, man, I always forget how much stuff you're in. And then it became this instant connection in this bond where I'm like, I'm proud of you. Because I was like, I had to be honest with myself about why are you so jealous of this dude? Like, and then I looked at him and I really saw him for like who he was, and he changed in that moment to this other thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think it's you being honest with yourself that allows you to then change that perspective on it. And I think that's powerful to be able to look at yourself and look at the situation, and with that honesty, then you're able to say like either like, how can I change this, or how can I approach it differently?
Sure. And sometimes it's like, for example, sometimes you're like, I know that I'm sad today because it's gray, or I'm feeling in my feels, as a 20-year-old say, right? And sometimes you're just like, it's going to be great for the next 7 days, and I can't take a beach vacation, or I can't get out of here, and just, how do I figure this out? Because I don't want to feel miserable for 7 days.
How do you figure it out?
Man, that's a good question. I exercise a lot. I go to Hot Works, and I sit in the warm, like, orange light rooms. And sometimes you just need that orange light. Find a sun lamp, go see a movie. Like, get out, even if it's raining.
Yeah.
Go walk on the belt. The other day, it was about a month ago. It was November. And I was just like, I don't care. This is my day off. Wednesday's kind of my day off from working out. I'm started doing yoga now, so maybe a partial day off. But I found doing nothing is not good for me.
No. Well, how do you? Because I feel the exact same way. Like if I get into a place where I'm not doing much, I'm like, oh my gosh, man, and I feel like you get in this funk, right? You're in this funk, and so how do you? when you're in the funk, you like don't want to move. How do you find yourself to be like, no, I'm going to go do yoga. No, I'm going to go on the belt line. No, I'm going to get to the movie theater.
Well, I know personally that there are days I don't feel like going and working. I'm like, oh man, I just taped an audition and it's like, I'm kind of sleepy now. It's 4. I'm coming down from the adrenaline rush of the audition. And I know from experience that I'll feel better after. Like, I know from experience that at the end of the day, if I've worked out and cleaned my room and done the dishes and submitted for auditions on Actors Access and casting networks, I'll feel good no matter how I woke up feeling that day.
Yeah, it's about taking action. It's about doing something.
Sure, of course.
Like when we move, that changes our state.
Uh-huh. And I talked to a therapist one time. I actually was doing a private coaching with this guy. He's like, oh, I'm a therapist. And he's super jacked. He's a good dude. I can't think of his name in the moment. But he's like, the 3 things you need for a good day are accomplishment, connection, and physical movement. Go have coffee with a friend. I guarantee you if you wake up and it's raining in Atlanta, February's coming up. If it's raining in Atlanta, go to a coffee shop, meet with a friend, submit for every single project countrywide on Actors Access and casting networks, and then go move somehow. Go to a yoga class. Yonder Yoga has $40 for the first month, unlimited. You know what I mean?
Get Scene Studios was founded in helping connect actors with industry pros. We bring in the top Southeast agents and casting directors to really help you get seen by the people that matter. And we really focus this on 2 different ways, everyone. In one of our signature in-person classes or workshops called the Get Seen 360, you get to have a self-tape evaluated, then you get to work on the callback, and then you also work on a cold read. You spend 5 hours with an industry pro in the Get Seen 360. And then for our online class, and this signature workshop we have is called the Perfect Submission. And this mimics the Actors Access submission process where you send in a headshot, a self-tape, and a demo reel or clip. And so this is an incredible way to really get feedback on what that submission is looking like. And so everyone, as a thank you for listening, every single month we're going to choose one winner, and you get to choose one of these classes. Any class that you want will be absolutely free, and this will be our way of saying thank you so much. So all you got to do is head to the pinned comment below, put in your name and email, and you will be entered to win. All you got to do is put in your email one time, and you will live there forever, which means if you submit this month, you could win 3 months from now, 4 months from now. So go ahead and head to that pinned comment now, and good luck. Yeah. No, I think that's so important. But to transition into some of your acting stuff, bro, I mean, like 100 credits, and I feel like you've been a bit pigeonholed in this, like, you're the bad guy.
Sure.
And I'd love to know how you feel about that, because, like, you're the nicest dude.
I'm okay. I'm going to be honest. I have a really bad temper, man. I have a bad temper. Don't tell me what to do. Don't make fun of me. Unless you're my bud. I can take teasing and stuff like that. I like it, actually. But, like, I have a really bad temper, man. Like, it's scary sometimes. But but that, to my credit, like when I'm at Starbucks and there's someone behind the counter and I'm just like, I know you're mistreating me right now because I think that I'm better than you because you work at Starbucks. And I'm just like, first of all, I don't. Second of all, I've been there. I worked at McDonald's even when I was in high school for 11 months. It paid my trip to Spain for my exchange. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't have jack and nothing when I was growing up. So the opposite. And then I'm trying to be nice to the person, and they're still giving me, like, negative feedback. You're just like, but to my credit, like, I think it's important to be nice to people. So, like, yeah, I am nice. But especially as I've gotten older and really used Meisner and gotten in touch with my feelings, I'm not like, oh, I'm such a nice guy. I choose to be nice. It's a choice at this point.
I mean, it has to be. It has to be. I feel like you're not normally just out of, Yeah, I don't know that being nice or being kind to people just happens naturally. Like usually, yeah, I think the opposite is what's natural, which is interesting now that we kind of talk about that. I wonder why.
Well, there's a lot of like self-help people and stuff like that who say like, I don't think it's a yeah. If you're doing naturally, some people are just like, wow, you're just like a really nice guy.
But it absolutely takes effort.
For most of us, it's just like, I know what's happening in this moment at Starbucks, and also I forgive you because I get it. Because you feel taken advantage of, so I'm just going to be nice to you anyway. I'm going to leave a tip anyway because I get it. And that's a beautiful thing about being an actor is just like we were talking about before, you get to be in touch with yourself, how you're feeling, and say, hey, this person is making me mad, but I'm not going to take the bait. As someone just said the other day, a really huge, like, solid, he's like, talks like this jiu-jitsu dude. He's just like, if I'm in a conversation and someone says something to make me angry, I understand now that they're using a tactic where they're attacking me. Because if we're just talking about ideas, who cares? You have a different idea. I can talk to someone who has completely, but if they're saying something that triggers my ego, then I'm just like, oh, they're using an unfair technique and they're trying to fight. I don't want to fight. So cool, yeah, and you win, bro. I'm not going to, you're making me, do you know what I'm saying? You're triggering my ego, so I'm not going to fall prey to that. Because then when you fall prey to that, then you're stupid, I'm an idiot, what are we doing? We're not solving anything. We're attacking each other. Nothing gets done at that point.
Have you brought more awareness to that? Because, yeah, I think we probably attack each other unknowingly sometimes. You know, it's off reaction, right? I think anybody that's in a relationship with anyone, whether it be a friend or a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, like, you know that your reaction sometimes just happens, right? And it is attacking. How have you brought more awareness to that within yourself?
Well, like I said, man, one of the things that the gift that I've gotten from Meisner is generally I know exactly how I'm feeling. So just like the other night when I was out with my friends, and I was out with two old, beautiful women from Universal who, of course, I had a crush on back in the day. And he's just like, he has an amazing career. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling jealous. So I just said to him, oh, man, I'm repeating myself, but I said to him, oh, man, I always forget how much stuff you're in. And then it just became this conversation of two professionals. He's been like, yeah, man, I'm always trying to be. And I realized no matter what level you're at, you're always the same person. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like we were talking about before the podcast, like we started. Everybody wants to be someone else. But The Rock wakes up in the morning like, oh, man, I'm tired. It's 4 a.m. It's just like me. I got to go work out. I got to have coffee. I got to do this thing. Everybody's having the same human experience. Just because it's Jesse Malinowski or Tony DeMille or The Rock or Kevin Hart, they still have hard days. They still have problems in their marriages. They still have like, oh, man, this is going to cost me 20 grand to do this. You know what I'm saying? Maybe for you, it's like, I just got a $500 ticket. But for them, it's just like, oh, I have to pay my manager $10 million. I was really looking forward to using that money for this. Or, wow, my tequila sales are down. How can we? No one gets out of the human experience.
No, absolutely not.
Saying? Everyone. So sometimes even you, right? So I've been jealous of you before, of course, in certain moments. And I literally ask myself, of course, you know what I'm saying? You have a super nice house. You have a beautiful wife. You book these commercials, blah, 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 blah. I think it was commercials. I was getting jealous about that.
Oh, I mean, the commercials are fun.
Yeah. But I literally ask myself, do you want to be this person? Because I wouldn't trade my life with you for anything. And even I was thinking about, it was James. I get really jealous of James. What's the guy who played the Green Goblin? Young guy, super good looking. Everybody loves him.
Franco.
And I said, do you want to be James Franco? And I was like, no. And why would I want to be James Franco? And so that's immediately, it's just like, oh, okay. I like being Tony Demil.
Well, what's really, actually, I feel like really cool about that, again, like you being so vulnerable and open about that, is like there's specific things, right, that like maybe you're jealous of. Yeah. And so instead it's like, what can you learn from that? Because like, all right, like, yeah, we might have somebody that we're jealous of for some specific reason, but it's like, what is it specifically that's happening in that person's life that you feel is not happening in yours? And then how can I
Great question.
build it into my life? How can I put that in there and really replace the jealousy with enhancement?
That's such a great question, and that's what I always come to. It's just like a little reminder. For example, Charles Green. Let me just tell you, when I was scrolling episodes the other day of which one I ended on Greer, which one I was going to listen to, you and I have talked about this before. I was like, this is not a day where I can listen to Charles Green's episode. You know what I mean, dude? I had to like snooze him on Facebook for a while.
Charles Green is the best.
Bro. But when you think about it from the perspective of like, cool, Charles is about 10 to 20 years older than us, and like, that's what we have to look forward to.
Definitely.
So he's the example of like, hey, that's coming for us.
Right. And it's instead of if jealousy is coming up for you, right? You really have to bring in the effort. So like, how can I change that? You just said that's what's coming for us as we get older, right? Is that, this can be transferred into like hope and excitement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say. And then, so Marty, for example, of course, I'm jealous because he has an amazing, and one of my check mark goals is I want to book a series regular and TV show. So he has. And then you have to think for yourself, okay, do I not believe that I live in a universe where this is available to me?
Mm.
Are there limited resources or are there unlimited resources? Because every time I turn on the TV, I see a new show with 5 new people I've never seen before. So
Bro,
like,
so
do you
many.
not think that there's enough for you too? And then you have to think like, well, do I? I'm like, no. There's the universe has unlimited resources.
Yes.
We print money. The United States prints money, plenty of money. There's plenty of jobs for everyone. In fact, we live in a time now where it's probably the easiest time to book jobs as an actor that it's ever been.
Dude, it's so much work, so much. You know what's so interesting though, Tony, is you're talking about these people that like you have at times been jealous of. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if I look at your career, I promise you it's the other way around, and people are saying the exact same thing about you. Like you have so many incredible credits, and so how about this? This is actually how you get the answer for yourself. So if I right now said, Tony, I'm so jealous you booked Succession. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair. Like, I wanted to book Succession. I love that show. What would you tell me?
I'd be like, well,
how would you want to make me feel better? What would you say?
That's a good question. First of all, thank you. It was an awesome experience. It was stressful. I had to get out to New Mexico and stuff like that. And I think I had to buy a ticket to Dallas or something because I was working out of, Texas for my Texas agent, who I'm no longer with. And it was a good experience, but it was like stressful. It was like a lot of pressure and stuff like that. And also like, I could give an F about Success. I don't care about that show.
So you know what? So this is the thing though, right?
Is
that so exactly what you're doing right now is like you're like, listen, it's cool that you're so excited about Succession, but it like was not that big of a deal. And actually it was a lot of freaking work. And I had to do this and this and that. I just feel like it's like the same thing. You like, and we love Marty. Marty's incredible, right? Yeah. But like, I'm sure Marty would say the same thing. He's like, oh, you want to be a series regular on Tyler Perry and do the entire season in 2 weeks? And like, I was up 21 hours straight memorizing my lines.
Sure.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Every
It's
single
like,
person in the cast is like that. And when you hang out with Marty, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
When you hang out with Marty, it's not like Marty's like, wow, my life. So no, he's a normal person.
We all are. We all are.
There's no like, oh, wow, I booked this job or this thing, or I got this person or this man or this woman, and now everything's amazing. One of my favorite motivational speakers says this all the time. There's people here who want to be married. There's people here who want to be divorced. And he said, if you think finding the right person and getting married is a solution and is going to make everything. He's like, you got another thing coming. And everyone in the audience laughs, which means it's a similar experience. But like, cool. Saying yes to a marriage to me is like saying yes to a full-time job that you love.
It is. I mean, it's actually saying yes to a full-time job that like at times you don't love. You know what I mean? Like
how many times I literally had to leave. I literally had to leave and go to Florida for 8 days because when the strike ended, I was not ready. I was still very bitter at the industry. I had to get out. I was getting a bunch of auditions. I got an audition one Friday in Atlanta. I recorded a video, but I didn't post it. There were 2 parties that weekend, 3 parties that weekend. 2 were specific invites. One was like, please come. This is a limited guest list. It was going to be so amazing. I was like, I don't even want to do this audition. It's a German accent. There's no way they're going to book him for this. I just know because I know my type. I'm not booking this, but I have to do it and do a good job, and it's going to take all weekend. And I have 2 shifts this weekend working for like doing liquor promos. I was like, I don't want to do that. I mean, a lot of times I get auditions and they'll be like, I don't feel like doing this. It's not fun all the time.
No.
I hate it sometimes. I'm mad at it sometimes. I get mad at the casting directors. Not mad, but like I actually use it in my work, honestly. It's like, man, it's like Friday at 4. I'm getting 2 auditions. Why are you sending me the other auditions? I wanted to like chill this weekend. And yeah, because of new SAG rules, it's not due till Tuesday, but it's due as soon as possible.
It is.
And so I think it's...
that rule's inexistent, but I don't know if it matters.
Yeah.
Like you still need to get
still
that thing
due in
in
24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Or if it's a weekend, it's due Monday morning at 8 a.m. or whatever, as soon as you can get in it. But I do think it's important. I do think that's important to remember. Like, no one has this like perfect, amazing. This is life. Life is hard, man. If you have a child, man, I just lost my cat. If you have a child, either you're dying first or they're dying first. Both are a tragedy for one of the people. That's the saddest thing ever. Imagine being a mom and knowing one day, or a dad, let's talk about dads. Imagine being a dad and being like, one day my son's gonna have to watch me die. That's horrible. Even if you're the best dad in the world, you're like, even worse, right? It was easier for me because me and my dad weren't that close. But imagine like having a daughter as a father. That shit is fucking, life is hard.
I mean, life comes with its ups and downs, its challenges, absolutely. You know, but you know me, I like to focus on the good.
Yeah. And I will say this, I was just talking to actually Jeremy the other day, and it was actually very healing for me because he feels like he's booked nothing. I said, bro, you have like 2 series regulars and you've been on The Walking Dead for 8 episodes. He's like, yeah, man, I'm just a starving artist up in like Marriott. I'm just like, you know what I mean? No one's made it. No one's made it, bro.
No one gives themselves enough credit.
Yeah.
No one usually gives themselves enough credit, which, I mean, this is like such a great aha moment of just like whoever you are, wherever you're at, like take a moment and acknowledge the things that you've accomplished.
Sure.
You too, Tony.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking like, I thought you meant I know, man. It's really hard.
No, I'm talking to everyone, but I'm like looking at you right now saying I'm talking to you.
I know. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I have. And I said this to Jeremy the other day. I was just like, man, there's literally 1 billion people out there who would, and I don't mean, I mean, there's 1 billion people, 100% of this world, who would snap their fingers right now and trade our lives. We're basically billionaires compared to about 1 billion people out there. There's this woman on YouTube I watched the other day, and it was an influencer, and he had stayed with him in like, it was Guatemala or Ecuador or something like that. And they lived in like her whole life, her dream was to have her own bed.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
when I start to feel bad about myself, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got a house, I have my own room, I have the whole upstairs to myself. I'm just like, my house, I love my house so much.
It's all about perspective. I wanted to ask you, because you know, you bought your house through being an artist, through being an actor, and like that must have felt pretty damn good.
It felt really good. And I wanted to get back to your question before about me playing bad guys because we kind of got saturated.
Oh, yeah, I'll bring it back. Don't worry.
Okay, great. Here's the best thing about it. When I started this business, I had no idea that I was going to be playing bad guys. You know me in real life. I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I'm starting to play more characters like that now, kind of like the character I played on Succession, who was just like a little bit off the charts.
Yeah.
And I did another film. I can't think of the name right now. It was a soccer movie where I got to be this wild. And they're starting to ask me to play more characters like that now, which is fun. But I had to learn how to do that. I didn't know how to play bad guys. I was dating a woman at the time named Jillian, and she wasn't a film and TV actress. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I can play bad guys. She's like, I can. She's like, I'll kill you. And I did a little bit of it. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. I had to learn how to do this. So I went back to the method that we teach. The what do I want? How do I get that? Relationships, actions. I learned how to be a bad guy. This is not my natural. It's the opposite of who I am. So that should tell everyone out there that whatever the thing is that you want to do, motorcycle mechanic, politician, actor, this is a learnable skill. I had to learn how to do this. I didn't know how to do this. I learned how to do this, and I've gotten so good at it that I'm like, okay, cool, now how can it just be Tony Demil again? That's kind of where I'm at in my phase now. I'm like, I've been doing it so long, playing a bad guy and like adopting that character. And it depends on the show, how much character, how much me, but like where it's coming back full circle to like, oh, this is just going to be me again, but as this bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, that should be encouraging for everyone out there. You can learn how to do this.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? One of my old acting teachers, and I don't think she meant it in this way, everyone can learn how to act. Some people don't think that's possible. I do.
I also think so. Yeah, I agree.
Anyone.
Because especially now, right? And if you think about how acting has changed like through the decades, right? I mean, right now we're in a time where it's like, be you and bring yourself to it. And they're usually trying to find like just casting's trying to like find that person, right? So it's like, if you have been going about your whole life being you, congratulations, just keep being you. And there's a role out there.
100%. And yeah, there is craft to it, to what we do. And
yes.
When I play bad guys,
but that can be taught. Just like if we're like, let's go learn to play tennis. And they're like, here's the technique that you need to do with the backhand and whatever other hands you're doing in tennis.
Yeah, and imagine as an acting teacher, me saying like, oh, I only think certain people can learn how to act. Like, everyone can learn how to act. Everybody.
And it comes more naturally to some people. But that's just the same thing like someone that's like super athletic. And they're like, oh, you've never played basketball before? And they pick up the basketball. And you're like, you've never played before? Wow, you like picked that up so fast. It's like, oh, I'm just kind of athletic. Like, some people
wasn't?
Yeah, it just comes to them more naturally, and some people have to work harder.
Shaq was terrible. Shaq was a terrible basketball player. He had no coordination.
He was just enormous.
He learned how to do it.
Yeah.
He learned how to do it. And it's not like you're like, oh, Shaq, who's that? Oh, he was famous at like Loyola. No, he was one of the most famous.
Yes.
And honestly, I think there's a certain amount, I think, of fate that you're just like, my life and my things are coming for me if I work as hard as I can. And yeah, maybe I'll never be Tom Cruise. I don't want to be Tom Cruise. That's way too famous. I don't want people taking pictures of me when I'm at Trader Joe's. I want to be on a show with a great cast where we do great work. And every once in a while, people come up to me and say, hey, I love that show. It's like one of the only shows I watch. It's so good. What a huge compliment.
Huge compliment.
You know, and let's talk about being famous too. I no longer want to be.
Did you want that?
I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the most famous actor in the world.
Oh wow.
And now I'm just like, no. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You said for Succession you had to go to New Mexico, you had to do all this stuff. Bro, like you really are like a road warrior, especially from like a decade ago. Like I remember I had moved up here first, but bro, I think you moved up like 2 or 3 years after, but like I just imagine you moved up the same time as me because you took that drive so many times from Orlando to Atlanta. You've worked in New York. You've worked in New Mexico. Bro, like, you really have just, like, every once in a while, you're just like, oh, I'm going to Ohio to shoot a movie. Like, you shoot like, how tough is that? Like, really being the road warrior? Because I think an actor is probably thinking, yeah, I want to work everywhere. I want to work all over the country. Like, talk about the pros and cons realistically.
You know where I'm going on Saturday for 3 weeks?
Where?
Morocco.
Really?
I booked a job. I'm going to Morocco for 3 weeks.
Get the hell out of here. Let's go.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
You didn't tell me that before the podcast.
Yeah, no, I wanted to save it.
I love it. That's so dope.
I will tell you this. It's lonely. It's hard work. I remember, it's funny because before my last relationship, I hadn't dated anyone for 9 years. And you think about it, people are like, oh, 9 years, that's such a long time. You're like, is it? Because I didn't notice. Because I was doing the thing. I was working at Universal. I was doing capoeira like 10 to 20 hours a week. And then I was driving I arranged my schedule so it was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I drove to Atlanta from Orlando like 2 times a week sometimes.
Dude, it was nuts.
One time I remember specifically I had an audition with Raven Drummer. And it was like, I had driving back on Tuesday. I was in Vienna, Georgia. And then I got an audition on Wednesday, so I turned around and drove back up. And I told her, and she was just like, you drove back from Vienna? And I was like, I drive to the moon for these opportunities. What else do we have to do? Is there something more important? Let me just tell you something. If you don't want to be an actor 100%, you should go do something else. Because the sacrifices that I've had to make, if you make a date with someone 2 Fridays in a row and you cancel both of them for an audition, they do not care. They don't want to go out with you anymore. And I can tell you, like, I'll go look on Instagram for a woman that I flirted with a couple of years ago. It's like, oh, I wonder what's, going on, and be like, oh, she's having a baby. Or her baby's 1 year old now. You're like, she's engaged. You're like, that's what this life is, man. It's like 100% dedication, in my opinion. You have to really want this. You know what I'm saying? It's very lonely and it's very hard work and it's a hard life. The only reason I didn't quit in July during the strike, I was so angry at the power structure of this world. But I always felt like, for some reason, naively, I was like, yeah, but we're actors. It's different. We're making art. The only reason I didn't quit is just like, yo, man, all I've done so far is hard work. I'm not quitting before the payoff. I've got to the top of the mountain. It's downhill from here, man. I'm not quitting before the downhill part. Like, I'm ready for I got 4 auditions from my agent that were good over the strike. 2 were like I actually cared about. The biggest one I almost booked. So you're just like, I mean, that tells you, like, hey, man, you can't give up.
Dude, there's been multiple times you're so close to hitting that big one, bro.
So close. Yeah, man. I mean, I almost booked a series regular.
But I know. But this is the thing, though. And it just goes back to what you're saying earlier, though. That series regular isn't necessarily, like, changing anything. Like, your bank account will be a little bit more stacked.
Sure. Yeah. I'm still going to be doing the same thing. I'm just going to be a little bit more like, yeah, cool.
And you're going to be more busy for however long you got to film.
Sure.
Right? And if there's like any press stuff, like you're going to be more busy doing that. But your same insecurities, all those things don't go away.
Yeah, I'm going to be out to party and I'm going to be talking to some woman. And then someone more famous is going to walk. This happens all the time at my level.
Right.
I literally am talking to some women. They're looking at me like pie-eyed, just like, wow, you're Tony Demil. And then Jesse Malinowski walks in.
Bro, you have 3 times more credits than me.
Bro, you're Jesse Malinowski. Or Marty walks in, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I have to remember, like, I just have to love myself and focus on who I am. Because this exterior stuff is not like, the kind of woman who wants Jesse Malinowski does not want Tony DeMille. And I think that's the other thing we have to remember about. The cool thing about this art is we're not just doing a let's get famous art. We're doing an art which makes you more in touch. This happened to me on Saturday night. I went out with these two women, and I'm just like, this guy's the alpha male in this situation, not me. And I went home, and I was kind of like, this feeling again. And I was like, cool, what do I care? I'm awesome. I'm Tony Demil. I'm amazing. I'm a 10. 10 out of 10 in every category. And the categories I fall short, I'm working on.
Yes.
And I don't mean I'm better than anyone else. Everyone should feel that way. If you ask anyone, what would you rate yourself 10 out of 10? Should be 10 out of 10. Every single person. And if there's an area like, you know what I do when I think about my last relationship, to my credit? I think about these situations to be like, man, I could have been more forgiving in that moment. I don't think like, I can't believe she did that. I think like, I could have been like, I know what you're asking, but I know what you really want to hear is this. So come here, come sit in my lap. I'm going to tell you I love you. Because the rest of the stuff is just your ego.
It's
trying to
100% your ego.
Bro, and you're going to be in that. When I first speaking of bought my house, lifetime goal. I'm sitting in my house. It's, it's pretty empty because I only have like a couch in there now. Upstairs, downstairs, all me. And God just said to me, is this what you wanted? You're all alone.
Oh, wow.
In this huge house. Did you win? I couldn't wait for Daniel to get in there. I love having roommates. I went to a bar one night, and this woman who was incredibly intoxicated, she was there with her friend. I was like, I don't know. I was visiting a friend. She was just like, you have a roommate? I can't believe you are. Even if I were a billionaire, I'd have a house so big, and I'd be like, who are all the artists? What can you pay me? You think I want to live alone in some huge fancy house? I want to connect with people. I love having roommates. I love when they're gone, and I'm like, oh, the house to myself. By the second night, you're just like, it's kind of quiet, kind of is that what you want?
Right.
To be famous and then live in some rich house? It's just like the Joe Walsh song. You know what I'm saying? He talks about all his wealth, and he's just like, I've never even seen my car. I've never driven my car. I don't remember. I can't remember. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
All this stuff is just like, you know why I want to...
Hold on, two things real quick. Because I just love the realization you're like, lifetime goal to like get this house, right?
Lifetime goal. I have more money than my mom and my parents ever had.
Yep. And so
the
you're there, you've accomplished it, and then you're like, this was it?
This is incredibly empty with no one to share it with. Mm-hmm. Incredibly empty.
And so then it just that tells me right now is like we just need we're so focused on these other things, right? I want this house, or I want this book, or I want this, or I want this, right? If you don't have anyone to share it with, then it's gonna really mean nothing. So right now, today, we need to be fostering the relationships around us.
With our friendships and our how can we give to other people? And one of the things I like about you, Jesse, is that you're always like, how can I? You made it, bro.
What does that mean?
I mean, you have a beautiful wife, you have a podcast, you have an incredibly successful company that you built from nothing, that you worked your fucking ass off to fucking build, that you paid hundreds of dollars, $500 a month to get business coaching from the best people in the world. Like, you made it, bro. You made it.
But you know what? It's like human... Well,
but you know what you focus on?
But you know what?
Let me just finish this thought.
All right.
But the coolest thing about you is you're like, and I think this happens to you, is when you get to a point you're just like, I have all the success. How can I now give back?
I mean, that to me, that's really the transition in the success of like, oh, wow. I'm starting, quote unquote, whatever success you want to,
Sure.
I think it means something different to everybody, but all right, quote unquote, like becoming more successful is like when I transitioned into like, how can I just focus on serving people? Hey, we're taking action over here. How is it serving people, right? Oh, we're going to do X, Y, Z, but are we serving the people? Like, that's the question that's asked in like every action that we're taking. And so like, that's what, it gives you more fulfillment. It just is so much, man. And well, I appreciate you saying it. I do. Thank you, man.
And I can tell you, just being 100%, I'm not there yet. I'm incredibly self-centered. But to me, my goal is once I book a series regular on a TV show and have a name, we're going to come back to Atlanta and we're going to produce films. And all the people who work hard and are good actors and haven't gotten the opportunities, that's one of my goals. Is we're gonna put these people in these roles.
But you know what? Why wait?
I know that's what my manager says.
Why
She's
wait,
like, why
bro?
wait for then?
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking about it today.
Dude, if we wait,
I was thinking about it today.
If you continue to wait, just like let's take it like go all the way down to the actor that is like, I'm looking for an agent, but I gotta wait to get a demo reel. What would you tell him?
Ooh, I would say that's not a bad thought.
However, go after it.
But here's the steps to get there. Go on Actors Access right now and audition for everything.
Right. But you also don't need a demo reel to get an agent. Just like you don't need to book the series regular to make the show.
Yeah. I guess so. I guess I want to be in a position where I feel like a little bit more.
You just want to be more comfortable, but if you really want to grow, you got to get outside of that comfort zone.
Sure. And these last 4 years have been a lot of uncomfortable growth. I also think there is something to be said for, hey man, you've been working really hard. I worked really hard over the strike pandemic too, and I was able to save a lot of money. I want to be able to focus on my acting right now, not be so hard on myself, not have to do everything all at once. I think that's part of it too, is be like, hey, it's okay to be like, yeah, I just want to focus on my acting right now.
100%, 100%.
Focus on my exercise and working out and getting in great shape. And I want to have an audition come in and me not have to be like, I have to do 8,000 things. I want to focus on the work right now.
I feel that. Here at Get Scene Studios, I believe we really specialize in helping actors get agents. And so my favorite challenge is coming up, everyone. And for a limited time, you could get this 6-workshop series that's live for only $28. It's our Get an Agent Challenge, everyone. It's 2 weeks, 6 workshops, all live online. Now, if you miss anything, don't even worry about it because everything is recorded. But what this 6-part series really focuses on is gives you every tool and tactic you need to get an agent. And we're all together holding one another accountable to make sure you do the homework, you do what's needed so you can get an agent. Everyone, I love this challenge so much because people that have been looking for agents for 2 years get them in 2 weeks. It is unbelievable. So again, everyone, for a limited time, it is only $28. So grab your spot right now. You'll see the link in the pinned comments below. I cannot wait to see you there. Grab your spot for our Get an Agent Challenge. And I think that's a good awareness because I do think that there's you know, you have these other goals, right? And you're like, yeah, I want to be a booking actor. I want to like improve my craft, but then I also want to make the show and like understanding we only have so much energy.
Sure.
And like, if you want to make the show, like now you have to learn how to, you know, be a DP or find the DP or also direct and edit and the location scout and all these other things. So it definitely comes with other things, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't holding you back. And if you want to take action, then you do it.
I do agree with you. I also think, like you said, one of my good friends, Mike K, he's actually in a play right now at Windmill Arts.
Mike K!
Yeah. And he's another person. It is funny. I get jealous. I'm jealous of him for different reasons. Women love him, bro.
Mike K's awesome.
He's like a big teddy bear, and he like, I'll literally be sitting here, he'll be talking to a woman, he'll say something like, oh my God, I would never. He like is very like, oh, well, not just because you're doing this. I'm just like, I would never say that to women. Women love him, bro. But I think that I appreciate you saying that because I feel my mom was definitely like an overachiever. She was always like, I always need to be working on something. But I do think I've gotten to a point where I can be like, nah, dude, you work hard, man. I'd rather wait into a position where I'm just like, I have $100,000 in the bank. I'm a name actor. I can be like, okay, cool. I don't have to do like any side work right now. Now we can make a movie. Do you know what I'm saying? Now I can ask people, hey, send me some scripts. I want to read some scripts right now. Because I'll probably only be reading for bigger roles, maybe potentially. I want to be in a position where I have a little bit more like, I can chill.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's okay. Probably most importantly, right, is to realize like if you have this goal and there's other things that you're doing, like it doesn't make you a failure or like a scrub, like not to go after it right now. You're like, you know what? There's a couple of other things I want to get in line. I want to feel better about. And then and then I'm gonna take some action. I'm gonna get some things lined up. Like I think that's okay, but it is good though to make sure that you really do bring awareness to that, because
100%.
how often does it happen? We're like, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that. Before you know it, you're too old or whatever.
Totally. I agree
Not
with
that
you. Mm-hmm.
age has anything to do with you accomplishing things, but now you're just like, where did the time go?
So where did the time go? Yeah, I think that's a great point. And honestly, like, it's not something like I have to do. I feel like I give back in a lot of different ways. I'm definitely very self-centered, if I'm being honest. But, man, I have goals that I want to accomplish for me. For me. I think sometimes we forget, too, that, like, I'm important, too. God created me, too. And my first job is to take care of myself. Because then when I feel amazing, then I'm like, dude, I literally went I worked a liquor promo. I'm working liquor promos right now, just so you guys all know what this is about. I have over 100 credits easily. IMDb was not invented when Jesse and I were like doing our first jobs.
No, it was.
So there's 25 projects. By the way, there were no paid independent films back in the day. There was nothing paid because people had to use all that money to like rent equipment and stuff like that. You weren't filming on iPhones. You couldn't go on eBay and get a camera to film something on for $400, Amazon, whatever. And I'm doing liquor promos. And at first I was ashamed. And then after a month, I was like, wait a minute, there's no auditions right now. I'm proud of this. I'm so proud that I'm the kind of person who's just like, cool, this is not happening. We need to do these things. Go do it.
Dude, I don't think there's anything wrong with anyone doing any kind of work that they're like, that they can like get behind and they're making money and like you shouldn't be ashamed, I guess, unless it's like illegal, but like no reason that you should be ashamed in working hard and making money. Like
100%. And being an actor means a couple things. Sometimes it means doing whatever you have to do to support your lifestyle, just like being a parent, right? I always tell actors, if you've never felt, first of all, if you've never been, one of our good friends said one time, you're not a real actor until you've been like, had your part cut out of a show.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And then number 3, if you've never felt like, I'm terrible, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if this is ever going to work, that's part of being an actor.
100%. Oh, yeah.
I felt like that yesterday, today. Of course, it's part of being an actor. Part of being a human being is the self-doubt. And that's a beautiful thing about being a human being is like the self-doubt is part of it. Do you know what I'm saying? It makes you not insecure to feel insecure and be like, what do I care what other people think about me? I do not care, Jesse. No offense. Okay. I'm going to talk about teaching for a second. I teach a 3-day intensive with Get Scene. I'm so thankful it's so funny because a while ago, about 4 years ago, I was driving to Alabama. I was like, I'd love to teach like a Meisner intensive. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And it just wasn't the right time. You know what I'm saying? Cut to 4 years ago, you're like, hey, I have this great idea. Right? And I don't care if people like my class or not. Because on Sunday, I'm sitting there like, I put every ounce of my being into it. 99% of the people come, I literally will cry sometimes when I'm watching the scenes. I'm like, I can't believe it's so good. You're doing such a good job. You did it. You fucking figured it out. You got the thing that I came to teach you. Mm-hmm. So I know the hard work that I put into it. I know how hard I work on my body. I know how hard I train. I don't think I'll fight anyone. Do you know what I'm saying? I work out at a gym, American Top Team, with killers. These people are like the best fighters in Atlanta. They're way better than me. I'm not afraid of anyone there. I know because I've gotten so deeply in touch with my spirit and who I am through Meisner training. And I train all the time. I know myself. I'm not afraid of anyone. I've done the work to get in touch with myself. I was at a party the other day. I wanted to bring this up. And I talked to a woman, and she started immediately. She was like from LA, right? And there's a couple different people coming in from LA and thinking like, oh, they're going to show Atlanta how it is, and we're going to teach Atlanta. We have plenty of amazing teachers here. We have plenty of amazing talent here. We don't need anyone coming in from LA showing us how to do it right. We have plenty of people who book series regulars here. I'm not discounting the experience. I lived in LA, right? You lived in New York. There's a lot of great people who come there. But Atlanta's doing just fine.
Oh, yeah.
And she was being very disparaging. Everything I said, she was like shutting down. And I went and looked this person up. This person has no credits and fake followers on Instagram. I'm just like, cool. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, it goes back to, I sat there and I was just like, I was feeling like weird about myself because it triggered my ego. And I said, why am I feeling this way? And I was just like, I know who I am. I know what I do. I know what I give back. Do you know what I'm saying?
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah. And that's the art of what we do. The art of becoming an actor is, that's why actors get to a point they're like, you know what I'm saying? You see these actors on TV and they're just like, I don't care. It's a pretty good movie. I hope people like it. I did my best. I worked as hard as I could. That's a beautiful thing about discovering who you are through fighting or through, I mean, dude, look at what you've done with Get Seen. Do you know what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah.
It's a
I love it.
multi-million-dollar company.
No, it's not.
Maybe not yet.
On the way, baby. On the way, baby.
Yeah. Was that too left field? Did I go too far off course?
I only expected you to, Tony, so it's all good. I'm
I
prepared
guess that's
for
what I'm
it.
trying to say is like, man, the more successful you have, one of my favorite motivational speakers said this to me. Everyone loves me in Atlanta. I work as hard as I can at everything I do. People come up to me because of Get Seen, because a lot of them know through Get Seen, through the free classes we do and stuff like that. We blow people's minds handing out what I just think is like basic information. Do you know what I'm saying? When we do these free
It's
classes,
years and years and years of developing.
experience.
Yeah,
Of course. And I've had great teachers in the past, Lauren O'Quinn from Class Act in Orlando, who I take information from, and Yvonne Sewer, and all these different people and these workshops, and all the casting directors workshops. That's another thing is like, you have to be humble as an actor, man. Like, when I came to town, I easily had 10 to 15 credits, including like a 7-episode recurring arc on Bloodline, one of the most popular shows at the time. It was more popular than Game of Thrones at the time. I came to town and took everyone's workshop. Every single person, casting director in town. And I didn't always get the best feedback. And I took it, incorporated. I took Brian Beagle's workshop. Didn't go so well the first time. I took it again. He hit me up. Oh, man, I sent him first class. He hit me up, to his credit. He's very humble, too. Oh, man, you didn't have to do that. I was like, no, man. I want to do a good job. And the next time I took his workout, he was just like, yeah, man. That's what I was trying to get you to do the first time. We need that humility. You think every audition I tape, I'm just like, that was a 10 out of 10. No. I'm still thinking about a audition I did for Erica Arvold for whatever that movie was about, Dope Sick. That I got sent to producers for. I'm just like, yeah, but I didn't set the environment that well. And that's why the audition, I was like, why is this not feeling good? Should have set the environment. That was like 5 years ago, bro.
I mean, that's how you continue to get better, though.
Of course.
I mean, we need to be able to let it go, right? But I do love that you can look at it and be like, you know what, I could have done this differently. I could have done this better.
100%. And I think, one of the things I like about training martial arts, we've both trained martial arts. I went to my gym before I started training. I was like, I think I might fight. Bro. Our gym's probably as big as like 3 yards, 3 like large yards. So one of the times I was in class doing like a kickboxing fitness class, and this guy's kicking 100 meters away the bag so hard. Yeah. Just like, yeah. I'm just like, I'm never fighting these people on a different level. Martial arts keeps you humble. As tough as you think you are, these people are 1,000,000 times tougher than me. These people come out of fights, their face just looks like this, and you're like, I won. You're like, the guy looks like who won? Women too, men, everyone. There's women at my gym, multiple women, who I roll with. I do jujitsu, mostly focus on jujitsu. I'm just like, you scare me. Yeah. You're very scary. You move so fast and you're so strong.
Don't get in the ring there.
Wow. And then I'm proud to say I'm like doing a private coaching with a guy who was in the UFC. And he's like, I make a lot of analogies to fighting because of him. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like when you're getting in the ring. He's like, yeah, you're like a black belt in acting. I'm like, no, I'm a brown belt. Because once you think of yourself as a black belt, you stop growing. I did an audition a week ago. Mike K was my reader. It went really well. I looked at it. I was like, it's really good. I'm like, but should I have done this? That's what makes you grow, bro.
Right.
Like I said, I look back at my relationship. I'm like, man, I should have done this. I should have done that. This could have been better here. I'm glad I drew my boundary here. I should have drawn it sooner there. But also, I could have been easier there. I could have been more forgiving here. I could have been more loving here. Why are you going to walk out of a relationship and you're like, I was perfect. She was the problem. What? How does that make you grow at all?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like when, I think of you and I'm like, do you want to be Jesse Malinowski? I don't want to be Jesse. I want to be Tony Demil. I want to be a better version of Tony Demil. And also the healing part for me is like, James Franco wakes up every day wishing probably to want to be someone else too. Oh man, look at The Rock's career. He's in so many more movies than me. Or maybe the Dalai Lama. Oh, the Dalai Lama's so peaceful. I wish it could be more like, we're all having a similar experience, I think is a very healing thing to learn. There's no winners on this earth and there's no losers. You're on your deathbed and you're like, I tried my best. I went for everything. I have all these amazing experiences. I have these great connections that I made. Maybe I had a kid. I did a really good job. You know what I'm saying? There's no win. There's like, I went for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's very healing because there's no place that, to me, checking the block for me is I booked a series, right? Okay, I did it. We did it. And now, do you know what I'm saying? But there's going to be 30 more goals after that.
Of course, there's always another goal. And there's another question, which is in the Spotlight sign-off, Mr. Tony Demil, which is 5 questions to end this thing strong.
Okay, great.
Number 1 is...
Can I just ask you one question, too?
You're going to... Okay.
Did I do a good job? Did I go too far off the rails?
You did it. You did exactly what I expected Tony Demil to do.
Okay.
You brought yourself. You were vulnerable. I love it.
Okay, good.
Question number 1 is, what's something you're extremely grateful for today?
You know what? My mom. I feel like my mom did like a really good job of like teaching me to be humble, teaching me to be extremely self-disciplined, and also I love myself. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. And that doesn't mean people can't hurt my feelings in a moment. I've been to lots of parties where I'm like, I don't feel that cool right now. So then I'm like, why am I feeling that way? Is it time for me to leave or do I need to let go of that feeling? But always when I go home, I'm like, I look in the mirror and I'm just like, why do I care what anyone thinks about me? I do not care. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. I mean it in a I love myself type. I think everyone should feel that way. 100%. Why do you care what I think about you?
Yep. No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I feel like she did a really good job of helping me respect myself, love myself, hold myself to task, be self-disciplined. Not just be like, oh, I love myself and I'm going to go do a bunch of drugs and party and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't party, I work hard. And also now I let myself party a little bit, relax a little bit. Because I think it's important to learn how to, just like you were saying, hey, just like for the hard work, the time is now to do it. Also, the time is now to like, you need to learn how to enjoy the moment as it's happening.
Heck yeah.
I'm not sitting here being like, I wish I were on Tom Cruise's podcast instead, or Armchair Expert. Shout out to Dax Shepard, baby. I'm going to be on his podcast one day. But also, this is an incredible experience. There's nowhere that I'd rather be right now.
I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Question number 2 is, what is a show, movie, event, or book that changed the trajectory of your life?
Good. The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. When I was in college, I basically read a book that reflected all of the thoughts that I was having. That basically like this entire world is like just an illusion. To me, I look at life like this. We come to Earth and it's like Monopoly. And right, nobody wants to lose at Monopoly, right? No one wants to have a terrible time. But I feel like I'm channeling Monty right now, you know? Like I said to myself, Monty, if you go to New York, you know, you got to hit the bricks running, kid. It's that Italian side. We come here, we like play a little Monopoly game. We work as hard as we can, but it's like, it's an illusion. And that's very healing to be able to let go of like, there's no winners and there's losers. There's just an experience that we have here. And everyone's different, you know? And it's hard sometimes and it's easy sometimes and we get wins sometimes. And sometimes I book things, I'm like, how did I didn't even deserve that. You know what I'm saying? But I did, and I'm going to do my best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's something within your daily routine you really cherish?
I mean, exercise.
Yeah.
I say to myself,
Dude, if you don't exercise, you go crazy.
I literally say to myself on Mondays, am I sad? Or do I just need to go to kickboxing right now? And then I'll literally, when Amber was here, you know, when I was dating Amber in my last relationship, on Mondays, sometimes I'd be like, man. And they go to kickboxing and be like, I apologize for whatever was happening before kickboxing today.
I feel like everyone should take that. Like, am I sad or do I need to just go for a run? Or
And
do I need to...
I think it's so true. And now I actually work out more because on my days off, I do active recovery. I work out at the gym 3 days a week, but it's really intense, so I have to have. So now I'm just like, cool, it's Saturday. Also go do some yoga because I want to feel good on a Saturday too.
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
What I'm saying? And the days I don't work out, I didn't work out Friday and Saturday because I picked up some liquor promos and stuff like that. And I was like, by Sunday, I was like, I don't feel that good, man. I'm sad. It's rainy outside.
Dude, when you're at the liquor promos, you just need to do some air squats, bro.
Yeah, and it's a different kind of like, it's great because you get to connect with a lot of different people. To me, sharing a laugh with a stranger is one of my favorite things, especially a stranger who's very different from you for different reasons, either race, ethnicity, culturally, economic. When you can share a laugh with that person, connect with that person, that's one of the best things in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? But I have to remember, but that's not the same as working out. Go do 10 laps in the pool, bro.
Right.
Go walk around the neighborhood.
But that's something I love about you. You do have the ability to connect with people.
Favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, you can tell that you love that because you do it so well.
Favorite thing in the whole world to remember, hey, man, we're just two people having this human experience. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. We're not enemies.
And like you said, to find like that laugh or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Fourth question is...
I'm sad. I'm like, no, I wish there were 1,000 questions. I don't want this to be over. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Dude, I'm so glad to have you here.
This is amazing. It's a great podcast.
Thank you, man. Thank you. The fourth question is, I'll ask it real slow.
Okay.
What are you currently working on in your life right now?
That's a really good question. Okay, this is what I always tell actors. This is what you need to be a good actor. You need to go to therapy, you need to exercise, and you need to do Meisner. You need to get in touch with your emotions, you need to get in touch with your anger, and you need to get have a therapist maybe guide you. Do you know what I'm saying? Therapist, motivational speaker, someone trusted in your community that you can get your thoughts out. I think therapy is very important. I've been to enough, I should probably go more, but I've been to enough where I'm like I think a lot of people who are actors don't understand, like you also need to go train a fire martial art because we have water in us and fire, and then something to help you organize those thoughts, journaling, or I need to journal more, or therapy. You can't just get a lot of fighters.
I feel like especially like on the podcast, I feel like a lot of people bring up therapy. I think a lot of people are doing therapy like now.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. It's like having a personal trainer at the gym if you don't know how to do it.
Right.
Luckily, through acting, we get a lot of emotions out. I also think it's helpful to have an unbiased resource. A lot of people who do too much water energy, like acting or art or stuff, need some fire energy in their life. And a lot of the fighters at the gym need to go do some yoga.
Right.
I think we have both of those things inside of us. And when I go do yoga, I'm like, I forgot I have these feelings too.
Yeah.
And then
So wait a second. What part of this are you working on? Balancing that or doing more of one or the other?
Yeah. So getting back into yoga, when I finish a yoga class, I feel very differently than when I finish a martial arts class. When I finish a martial arts class, I'm like, I can do anything. I can climb a mountain. I feel amazing. It's like I did, for lack of a better word, a bunch of cocaine, a bunch of uppers. And then when I do finish yoga, I feel like I took ecstasy. or I did like a bunch of stuff that made me touch with my emotions. We need both of those. We can't ignore those things. Fire needs water energy and water needs fire energy so I'm basically getting back into yoga and getting back in balance with that. Like, and when I finish yoga, I'm like, oh, I've been missing these emotions in my acting. But I see women all the time or guys who are never in touch with their fire energy. I've always been in touch with it. You can't play a bad guy and have never like punched a bag as hard as you can. And never got mad.
Right.
And you're going to go play a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? You need to go do miser and get in touch with all of these emotions and also fan the flame through martial arts and through yoga and through therapy. Miser is very important. A lot of actors don't understand where they can get to. I was doing miser the other day with one of my students. You know what I'm saying? And I said, I could fucking kill you right now. And I meant it. And obviously I'm in control because I've been doing it long enough to where like I can act and also like, hey, I'm in control right now. But like it felt so good to feel that fire and not be controlled by it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And afterwards he's like, oh, but you didn't really mean it? I was like, he's a great student too. He's a great student. He had such a good... I was scared he was going to hate my class. He loved it. He's like, no one talks to me this way. I'm like, oh. You know, every once in a while you got to jump in and show him, hey, this is where we can get to. And it felt so good to feel that way, not be controlled by it.
Yeah.
It feels so good as an actor to learn how to feel like I'm really sad and I also know I need to go take a yoga class and watch a sad movie. And this is just a sad day. It doesn't have to, that's the beauty of getting in touch with your emotions through miser, through acting, through art, is you don't have to let these things control you. Because you don't want to be a slave to anyone, to a job that you hate, to your anger, to jealousy, to like, this is why we practice the art. Dude, guys who are like super well trained, they're the most humble people in the world at my gym. The best fight, the more experience you get, the tougher they are at my gym from what I've experienced and all the YouTube videos I've ever seen of the most professional badasses in the world. You're like, they don't ever want to fight. They're just like, they come up to them, people come up, oh yeah, I'm going to fight you. They're just like, you know
yeah, I think it's because they have like such control over it. Just the same way that you're talking about that Meisner allows you to control that pinch and ouch, the reaction essentially.
Yeah. So when I'm at Starbucks, I feel myself getting mad. I'm like, this is just emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why is it triggering this emotion? I can figure it out. I can go let it help me grow as a human. You know, I think a lot of actors who don't think they need miser need to go train miser.
Yeah, Meisner is great, and I remember being having my hand up to the Meisner technique at first when I was in school in New York. I was like, this is stupid. Yeah. Blue jeans. I was like, but then I remember it just all of a sudden like clicked, and it's fantastic.
And if I could just say this one thing, since we're talking about this, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've learned about acting just from talking to you. We had a conversation one day after a workshop with George Pierre where I didn't do such a good job, and you taught me an important lesson about playing bad guys. Do you remember that moment?
No, tell me.
You were sitting in a chair and you were like, oh, I think you can just be yourself as bad guys. I was like, oh, but that's not scary. And you're just like, you just got real still and you like showed me a line. I was like, damn, that was good.
Thanks.
But let me just say this, like, if I weren't teaching classes and constantly like reflexing that muscle, I would be in classes right now, probably studying miser just because I love it. Like, however many classes you take, if you're not where you're at and you're not getting the auditions and getting constant feedback like, oh, you were sent to producers, that means you're doing a great job. Do you know what I'm saying? And you need 10 more years of classes. Not you, the person listening right now. Wherever you're at in your career, if you're not where you want to be at and you're not teaching classes, you need to be taking classes. You need 1,000 more. Every workshop I take now, man, the guy's like, I took a tour. One of the last workshops I took was at Get Scene. And all the time I look at Get Scene and I'm like, oh, should I take this workshop? And then I get some dope audition and then I do it and I get sent to producers. I'm like, okay, I'm doing fine. But one of the last workshops I took at Get Scene, the guy was like, Tony, you know what you're doing. Just keep doing it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And
but sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that. Yeah.
And sometimes it feels good just to, and like I said, if I weren't constantly doing private coachings and constantly like working with people and being like, and when I do auditions, sometimes I don't feel good. I'm like, what should I do? Like, what am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not even about wrong. It's about how could it be stronger, you know?
For me, it's wrong because I'm like, why is this not resonating right now? Because
why does it not feel a certain way?
Yeah, why does this not feel good right now?
Got it.
Because then when it clicks in for me and when it's resonating, I don't need to ask anyone's permission. I'm like, I know that was good. You may not like this, but I know that felt good.
Yeah.
So why is this not resonating with me right now? Because one of the things about Miser is you figure out, for better, for worse, the truth, what the truth feels like. Which is kind of a superpower and also is kind of annoying because you deal with a lot of people just like, you're being so annoying right now. Just be yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, Tony, last question.
No, I don't want it to end.
Last question. Okay. If you wanted all the listeners to get one piece of advice based on your life or something specific we went over today, what would it be?
Okay. I made a film the other day for this film group that I do called Kick the Ladder, where we make a 1-minute film every week. And I made I might post it where it's just like expectation. And I just, the first scene was like me waking up and be like, I'm Tony Demil. I have 100 credits. Let's see let me check my messages. And I check my messages and it's my agent being like, you booked this. We're going to be rich. My mentor saying like, they loved you at Variety. Don't spend your life wishing for someone else's life. Make it happen in your own life. Because everyone that you're thinking about has their ups and their downs, and they lost a child, and they you know what I'm saying? Everyone that you think you'd rather trade your life with has all of the same problems. Make it happen in your own life. People look at Tony Demil. My friend Mike K, he does this all the time. I was like, man, I'm feeling kind of weird about my career. He's like, what? You just booked this. You just booked that. You're just like, bro, am I not allowed to feel this thing? Because I have 100 credits? Am I not allowed to have not a good day? I'm trying to be real with you. We all have these problems. We all have the ups and the downs of life. I wish I were close to my brother. I wish my mom were here to see this. I wish, my dad were in better shape. I wish we spend our whole lives wishing for Tom Cruise's career, and Tom Cruise is sitting here wishing he was Laurence Olivier. Do you know what I'm saying? And then one day Tom Cruise wakes up and is just like, I like my life. I'm happy. This is enough. You know what I'm saying? And the things that I don't feel enough, I'm going to work on those areas to where I feel like, wow, I love my life. I love it. And if I wake up and I don't feel great, I have some coffee, I work on my motorcycle, I clean my house. I do all of the things that I know will help me feel whole again.
So what I'm hearing is appreciate where you're at.
Where you're at, and there's somewhere you're trying to get to. Take active steps to get there. That's what makes you feel good. Yes. Even me. The other day I woke up and I was just like, man, I'm not feeling good about my career. I booked I've done 30 auditions since December 1st. It's been insane.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's been a lot.
But one day I was just like, last week I didn't get any auditions.
But that's sometimes how it goes. You get a bunch last week, and then it evens out, and you get none.
Because they're making movies where all my female friends get auditions.
But but also enjoy the times that it slows down.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But one day, and also a movie's coming out where it's they're casting Jesse's type instead of Tony's type. You're like, do you really want to be working 365 days a year? I do not.
No.
Yeah.
No, sometimes I'm like, I don't think I need any more auditions.
Yeah.
If I got more opportunity, I don't know.
Yeah, and you need time to recharge and stuff. But I went on Actors Access and I submitted to a bunch of auditions, and I submitted to a bunch of auditions on casting networks, and then I felt good.
Well, also, you can't be auditioning right now. You're going to Morocco.
I know.
You're going to Morocco.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, to your point, instead of sitting here being like, I wish, be like, what are the actual, they always say this what are the actions that I can take right now to help me feel better? Maybe I need to go work out. Maybe I need a day where I need to go treat myself and go get a massage and get a cup of coffee and hang out with my friends. Maybe I need to go on Actors Access. Maybe I need to sign up for a class. I guarantee you'll feel at least differently after you do those things, and probably better.
Yep. Tony, it was fun, man.
Thanks, yeah.
Dude, so great to have you. It's been so great to be on your journey and have you part of Get Scene and help us serve the community in a big way. It's we're better to have you, man.
Thanks, man. I feel like Get Scene is like an awesome thing, and you know, before Get Scene, like you've changed. For like there's like $75 classes, $28 classes. I can go be in front of like casting directors and agents. Every single person who asks me, hey, I'm really trying to get a better agent in Atlanta, get an agent in Atlanta. Cool, have you gone to Get Seen? No.
Yeah.
Literally, people come up. I've taught classes where I've had casting directors and agents and managers come in. And at the end, and I'm not just saying like, oh, you should take my class. People hit me up and be like, oh, did you know I signed with Privileged Talent? I'm like, are you kidding me? They're not. When I tell Jake, hey, Jake, a friend of mine who has all these credits and it's recurring and this and this and that, and they've been acting for this long, and she's totally beautiful, and she's a model, and she works all the time commercially, his eyes glaze over.
Oh yeah, no, you have to make it be their idea. That's
it. I was in class with someone. She doesn't even live in town. We were doing notes for her scene. He looked right at her and he said, I'm sorry, I have to hold on just 1 second. You're an incredible actor. He signed her at a time when they don't take anyone.
Yeah.
So without fail, when people, I'm like, have you taken classes at Get Seen?
Dude, it helps you get seen.
Dude, and then once you get a good agent, help them by getting in front of all. If you're so amazing, you will stand out in these workshops.
Exactly.
If you're that amazing. You know what I'm saying?
And if you're not standing out, you have some more work to do, and you can improve and figure out everything that you can improve on from the classes that you're in.
Sure.
So, but Tony Demil, thank you so much, man. Everyone, this is your sign to subscribe if you haven't already. I thank you so much for listening to Get Scene Unscripted. Today it was with Tony Demil, everyone. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.